Play Mythic Plus bosses like a pro, episode 2. Hey guys, Petko here. Since the very first edition of this article came out to be very positive and you guys loved it, I will continue with the series pretty much breaking down random bosses from Mythic Plus and how people on the highest level of keys are playing them, and hopefully you can learn something out of it, like for example defensive usage, positioning, advanced strats, stuff like that can help you out to time your keys if you are planning to play keys above the casual level. Once again, if you do play casually, it's still gonna be useful, but obviously you can do whatever you like, you're never gonna die. I prepared completely random bosses. Some people wanted to see each boss from the dungeon. People like to have a randomized. I keep it randomized just for the sake of excitement. You never know what's gonna happen, okay? We're gonna begin first with Vexamus, or the way I like to call it, the Petko killer. The Petko killer is because many of you are dying on this boss consistently back to back, and you are misusing cooldowns, and it's pissing me off, okay? Now let me break it down to you. First, those bows. One soak at a time. If you're a tank, you can soak 2 or 3, don't matter. If you're a DPS, 1 at a time. Unless you're super tanky, if you're DK, you can soak 3, doesn't matter. Every single DPS, 1 soak at a time. Unless the bow is actually getting close to melee. That's it. You can already put it spirit if you like to. You don't need to pull the foragers, by the way, on top of the boss. We just do it because extra funnel. If you don't like to be put to do difficult, you can just play boss, whatever. It doesn't matter. Usually boss has like 15 seconds throw play. Mana bombs. Do we press defense with mana bombs? No, we don't. If you get only 1 mana bomb, the healer has a responsibility to kill you. I am not pressing defensive even on a 20 academy with my shaman. Okay? The only time you wanna press defensive in this moment is when the mana bomb overlaps with Arcane Fissure. I recommend you, each of you, to get either DBM or Big Wigs add-on to tell you the when the spells are coming out of the bosses. Alternatively, if you don't like neither of them, you can choose, for example, to go with the Blizzard native add-on that, you know, tracks when these abilities are coming. I use myself Big Wigs, but that's up to you, own choice. But this is when you want to press defensive. If the mana bomb is on you and the Arcane Fissure on its way, in this case right now, you can either watch the cooldown coming here or the energy of the boss. The boss always does 1 mana bomb with overlap with Fissure. Mana bomb, free, mana bomb with overlap, you know? It's always the second one coming in. So here we go. You get immediate mana bomb in, and if you have defensive here, you're gonna take less damage, and the healer has to heal you less before the AoE comes in. Luckily, the people that I play here are smart. At least the Evoker was smart. The DK is just a DK. He can never die. And the Monk is just, you know, a healer. So technically, he can't really die. I mean, DK, that aim is already too late for DK, by the way. But doesn't matter. He doesn't die because he's a DK. That's it. That's the whole boss. TLDR, nothing else. Obviously, there's gonna be a front of the boss going on a tank. Just make sure you're not in front of the tank. If the tank is smart, he's always gonna wanna place the front in the same direction away from you. So for example, every tank loves to place the front right here or right here, just not to the group. That's it. It's simple as this. Moving forward, next boss. Let's see some random boss. Boom. Okay, Nexus-Point Xenas. What is that boss? Corewarden Maisara. That is the second boss of Nexus-Point Xenas. Sorry, my bad. English is bad. Oh, somebody flamed me in the chat for having pedantic level English. Wow. You know what, guys? Like, honestly, just forget about this. Does it bother you that I have an accent and you guys can hear some of the words to be pronounced weirdly? Probably bothers some of you, but I feel like my English is like not as bad. I mean, it's not like native English, but come on, bro. It can't be that terrible that you actually hate to watch a stream. I think we're gonna die here, right? Yeah, we die here, boys. I wanna find Nexus-Point Xenas again. I think I play it again. Yeah, here we go. I wanna. This is a 20 actually. 20 Nexus-Point key. Where's the second boss? Yeah, this is second boss coming out. Okay, so second boss coming in. Here's the deal. So you have like 30 seconds before the damage amp phase comes in. So if you have a minute cooldown, you don't want to pop at the start. However, you can pop your minute cooldown on the phase before this, right? There's like 2 out phases and a boss, you can pop it there, but not during the boss fight. 30 seconds from the start of this boss fight is something you can pop. Now, the reason why I want to have potion here plus bloodlust is because you are able to gain the most damage per bloodlust spent in the entire run because boss takes increased damage once you stay in the beam. That's it. That is the only reason why you would like to have your DPS potion, trinkets, bloodlust, everything available here so you can kill this boss as soon as possible. Now, this AoE is actually hitting like a truck on high level keys, so that is something that you can always be aware of. I pretty much try to press a minor defensive here and a major defensive during the light scar flare you're gonna see in a second right now. But this Evoker lived it without defensive, and Vicman is just Vicman. He just stays in heals, that's it. He doesn't even press defensives, but that's fine. Now, those 3 ads are pretty nasty. You definitely want to make sure you interrupt and kick them and never let them cast through, because if they cast through, you're going to end up dying. So as you can see, I popped my major defensive. Why did I do it? Because I was scared for my life, right? And because it doesn't really matter. I still have health potion. I still have health stone. I still have minor defensive. Actually, I'm popping both minor and major defensive. That's actually a mistake for me. I should only pop 1. Not 2 at the same time. Okay, so this light flare scare, pretty much, it goes on a tank. So if the tank is smart, you can try to position in a way that is easier for you, right? To like get close to it. But if you stay inside this beam, you get more damage. You get more damage. That's when you want to press your bloodlust, cooldowns, potion, trinkets, ratio, and everything else. Cast a blessing in real life if you like, doesn't really matter. But you want to get inside here and start blasting. As you can see in a little bit, we're going to be doing massive damage. Like massive damage. And you're going to see our single target spiking to like 200 something. Because once again, you're going to get a see in a bit. We are doing more damage during this phase. That's all you're going to do. Now, you don't want to pop damage for the ads phase. You want to cleave the ads and try to kill them before the phase comes in. But if it comes in, they're going to die anyway because you have bloodlust and you have cooldowns rolling in. And that's it. And you're going to do the same thing after this phase, because you're going to kill this boss until like 2 phases. The boss is already dead for the most keys. Even on 19, I 2 phase that with my shaman. On 20, we're going to 3 phase the boss. And then you just pretty much try to hold your major cooldowns and minor cooldowns for the exact time where the beam is coming through. And once again, remember, potions and trinkets is something to be used only during this intermission. And otherwise, stun kick and interrupt the main ads. But yeah, please as a tank, try to make sure you don't hit your players in a party, because look at this beam that you saw right now. If you hit somebody from your party, you're gonna get stunned, and if you are stunned during this phase, you will just do no damage. But yeah, that was pretty bad run, by the way, pretty bad, because that beam was so we were out ranging here with a DK, and then that beam should have been like closer to us, maybe like here. But if it's the opposite, it's gonna take us a long time to come in. So we kind of lost 1, 2, we lost 3 seconds of damage jump, which is really bad, by the way. That's it. Okay. What is the next key? Let me check. Something interesting. Let's talk about it. Oh, you know what we can talk about, chat? We can talk about last boss, right? Last boss. Do we talk about last boss in Magisters Terrace? Ooh, let's talk about that, because I've seen a lot of people die there. Wait, am I doing 300k overall? Wait a second. 312k overall. What the? Yeah, that lock is nasty. Anyway, last boss, Magisters Terrace. A bit of a spicer. But here's how we usually do it with like all perks doing it this way. So when the room divides to 2, tanks like to solo one on the side with either healer here or range DPS. Most of the tanks like to be solo because they don't trust anybody, and they just go from here to here, from here to here, and just soak everything. Sometimes they prefer to have healer with them. So, for example, tank can cover one side plus overlapping if there's like a ground pour on the ground, they just go in and soak. And this side usually is covered by the healer in case they gotta run away. And then all the DPSers are sharing this side. You get like one quadrant, like side, middle. Range, melee, right? That's usually how people play this one. But you can do your own version if you like to. You can spread 2, 3, 4, 1. Doesn't really matter. The way you like it doesn't matter for the most part. Bloodlust on this boss is quite important. I would say this is the hardest boss definitely for this dungeon. To the question where to press defensive, right here. So you press your major defensive on the soak if you got a dot on you. If it's only the soak, you can take it natty, or you can just press mode defensive. That's fine. But as you can see, it doesn't even remove my health here. And I will only press my defensive if I get to soak the circle and I don't have, and I have a, like for example, right now I already have a dot on me. So if I have to soak, I'm gonna press my major defensive. In which case, let's see if it's gonna be on me and if I'll do it. Let's test if I'm full of shit or actually I'm gonna do it. Here we go. Okay, in my defense, I am not using my defensive here because I saw Vix bark. Like the moment I saw it, I was like, do I press it? Nope, I gotta bark. Ain't gonna press it. I'm trying to savor my defensive because I know that it's every 3 minutes. So technically, it does make sense for me to save it. So it was a good call though. It was a good call. You can't blame me. That's the whole boss fight, you know. Tank soaks in one of the areas, preferably in this quadrant, especially if it's overlapped with a poo-poo. Tank soaks this shit, and healer can go the opposite side, or anybody can go the opposite side. As you can see, Vicman is opposite, so he's like right here, for example, and Tank is covering the left side. That's it. That's the boss fight. And each of you guys have a responsibility to cover the quadrant. Or at least as DPS, you can just cover, as you can see, you can cover your own area. Like I already know Evoker is going to cover this, so I'm going to stay here, and the DK stays in the middle because he's just DK. That's it. All right. Let's do like one more boss. One more random boss. What do we do, guys? I mean, I'm talking to you like you can already answer the question. You cannot answer the question. Maisara Cavern, maybe? Do you guys like Team Maisara Cavern? Maybe? Maybe? Okay, let's do Maisara Cavern, like what? Like second boss, maybe? Oh! First boss! Oh, let's talk about first boss, bro. No, we're gonna talk about first boss. Yeah. Okay. Hold up. So, Maisara Caverns on a first boss is nasty. People have no clue what's up. Okay, pay attention now. These guys do not share health. Gotta make sure they die at the same time, okay? They do not share health. Infected Pinion. It's a disease. You can dwarf it. You can dispel it. People don't do that. I don't know why. As a tank, most of the time, you won't be in danger on this boss. So if you're a Brewmaster, if you're a Paladin, you can dispel the squishiest DPS meter. And if you look at right now this party, who's the squishiest? Let's think about it. We got Locke, we got DK, we got Druid, and we got Oak Evoker. The squishiest is gonna be Oak Evoker. So tank, boom, dispel this guy. Unless the Oak Evoker dispels himself every 1 minute, every 54 seconds. Right? You can dwarf it as well, by the way. You can, I'm not sure, can you pre-AMS it? Let me check. No, I can't. Okay, so I dwarf mine. Tank dispels himself. How the fuck did Maisara dispel himself? Dwarf maybe? I have no idea how. Unless AJ dispelled him, I have no idea. But AJ doesn't dispel himself. Unless my Evoker dispelled a DK, which will be a big question mark. That's fine though. Those traps, make sure to move away. I always stay close to it because if boss is gonna target me, it will be pretty bad. I already made this as a weekly tip of the day, but for the people that do not know, after Fetid Quillstorm is casted, the whole area is gonna be full with green pupus on the ground. However, this area right here, it's never going to be a poo-poo. So that's going to be a safe spot. This is going to be a safe spot. Once again, look at this. I'm covering it for you. Playing the boss. Wait. Well, the boss kind of moved, right? But if I roll back, you're going to see that this is the area that's kind of free. Pre-spreading. I always like to pre-pop defensive here in case we are stacked together. Preferably get to be spread, right? So for example, if you're melee DPS, try to stay away from ranges. If tank is facing this way, you as a melee face the opposite of the range, because the range is usually going to come under this boss. So you try to face the opposite of the tank. So in this case, for example, so you get only 3 people cleaving each other, right? Because they're going to be stacked for the most part. What we usually do is we try to move away as quickly as we can from the person that's getting targeted, but also pre-pop defensive, because you never know who's gonna get clipped. I always pre-pop my minor defensives every 45 seconds, but again, not every class has the privilege to have this kind of stuff. Okay? And that is the whole boss fight. That's the whole boss fight. It's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat until the dawn of time. Right? That's all. Let me know if that was useful, guys. I will continue to do this series for at least until we run out of Mythic Plus options. But so far, this should give you a solid advice on how to look for and play each boss like the people that play high level keys. That's all, guys. Follow for more on the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.